Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. So, wow, what a summer it's been. Been a long time since I posted. Had a good time. Did a lot of work on the farm. But now winter has arrived and well, we're back. We're back doing a lot more IT. So, finally, Starlink has arrived. You know, it was a long wait. We waited. We ordered it the February before last, I guess February 2021, and then in August we got a email from Starlink saying we're not servicing your area, but we're willing to give you a dish if you're willing to accept that it's not going to be perfect. And of course, our current provider, well, it was just awful. I'll do a separate video on it later. Our good friends at ExploreNet. I was so glad to dump them when I did. Anyway, that's not the topic of this video. So the dish arrived first week of September, and we're in a forested area, and the house is in the forest. And you know, when they built the house, they just cut a swath of trees out of the way and plopped a house in it with lawn around it. So the first thing we discovered was that the canopy opening wasn't quite wide enough, and we had some blockage on the east side. So I mounted it to the house, put a couple of extension poles on, got it reasonable. I got a 5-foot pole above the eaves trough. This is a ranch style bungalow, and it's not perfect, but it works good. And since the leaves have dropped off the trees, it's pretty much 100% now. So anyway, we're out of the service area, but man, is it fabulous! 150 megabit download speeds. I can watch simultaneous YouTube videos in high definition, 720p or up, which I could never do on ExploreNet, especially during peak times, because it would come to a halt. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. I keep saying I'm not going to. I was pissed off. So anyway, so that's the good part. Well, some things weren't so great. So when we got the dish, we of course got the new square one, or rectangular, not the round one anymore. And we're dismayed to find there's no Ethernet port on it. Nobody said anything. Nobody warned us. So we had to spend more money right away because we don't want Wi-Fi. In fact, I'd like to turn the Wi-Fi off, but that doesn't seem to be a way to do that. And that brings up another problem with this router device of Starlink's, is that you must own an Android or Apple phone that's compatible with their application to manage the switch. You can't do it from a web browser on the LAN at all. You can look at the settings, but you can't change them. Not that I've figured out. If anyone knows how to do that, it'd be nice to know. But the only way I can even look at the settings without using an iPhone or Android phone is a web browser while connected to the Wi-Fi. Anyway, a couple of disappointing things. That's not very good. I can see why people may use pass-through mode and use their own device to get away from that problem, but there's some nice statistics that I don't know if you'll get if you're not using the Wi-Fi as well, and speed tests and so forth. People that have it, you already know what I'm talking about. So yeah, so that was the first disappointment. I guess the second disappointment was, maybe I got these in the wrong order, but the cable for it has huge bejesus ends on it, and it's very proprietary. And the way they've got it designed, the larger end is the one that goes into the house, and the smaller end is the one on the dish. So when you install any kind of satellite dish or antenna, something like that, you start at the receiving end and you work your way into the house, but you can't do that with this. So even if you put the cable in the house and drill from the inside out and head up, you're not confident that you're going to have a long enough cable, and probably it would take several attempts to decide where the router is going to go once you do the installation. Anyway, kind of a disappointing thing. And even the small end we're going to require a large hole. Right now I have a temporary installation where I just have it going under the garage door into my garage, because I'm not sure if I'm happy with the location of it, and I may move it in the future. But so far so good. So yeah, as I mentioned, there's a little bit of blockage, so not a really big deal. I don't know about gaming, but for VPN connections, um, the if you're using a remote desktop, the connection stalls for a minute, but the tunnel does not drop, and then it recovers. So it's not even 30 seconds most of the time. So I was kind of hoping that over time, this being a new device, that it would learn and switch satellites before it gets into the blocked area and kind of filter the blockage out. I don't know if it's doing that or not, but it would be really nice if it had that feature where it would just ignore parts of the sky that are blocked, which are very small. And if I was connected to the Wi-Fi, I'm going to connect to the Wi-Fi and show you that. Just give me a minute. Okay, so I'm going to try and show you what it looks like currently. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me just get it turned around. So as you come around to the east, you could see, I guess those are branches because there are no leaves on trees. So that was all red in the summertime. So it would be nice if it could, see there's a little bit here, little bit here and there, but most of it's on the east side. Now I guess I could have those trees cut down, but I don't, I don't want to do that. Hopefully the technology will solve the problem. So yeah, so you see it says outside service address. That's we agree to that. We know that's the case, and sometimes it does go down, but it's been pretty rare so far. And here's the statistics page. Tells you the usage, latency, uptime, and it's so far it's never down. When we had leaves in the trees, sometimes you would have outages that would last up to a minute. But so far in the last 12 hours, 40 seconds of obstruction. That's very little over 12 hours. So here's the speed test. I don't know. Hopefully you can see all this. We'll see what we're doing this morning. It's Saturday morning. I don't know if everybody's up yet, but it kind of sucks right now. Maybe we're experiencing one of those times where bandwidth will be low. Again, we're out of the service area. So we've agreed to tolerate that but then not complain. And that's still 10 times better than my previous provider for about 50% more cost. And that's done. Okay, so yeah, so that's what that's all about. Now some more disappointing things. I was dismayed to find out that they're blocking port 25 for mail. So you need to do something else if you're using that still. And it's not so common anymore, but it is around here. And I was rather pissed off when I suddenly noticed that some automatic service emails from servers are blocked. So I have a server here, and it's got a UPS on it with shutdown software, and it emails me when the power goes off and comes back on, or the server shuts down. But it's an older program, and it only knows port 25 non-encrypted. So I've had to set up a proxy on the server to take the unencrypted email and relay it encrypted to the appropriate server, because it won't accept the unencrypted ones anymore. And my service provider for email, of course, retired the older servers, didn't say anything, and I found it the hard way because stuff stopped working. And I'll be doing a video about that too, along with ExploreNet. A lot of complaining videos I got to catch up on over the winter. So yeah, so that was a first disappointment. Port 25 blocked. I don't know if any others are blocked. Who knows? But and a sidebar to that disappointment, Starlink does not have a mail server, so you can't bounce it off of theirs, which was always what you did on, like, if you had a internet service provider who blocked port 25, they blocked it to outside their network, but you could use it to inside their network to their email server. if you're lucky enough to be able to do that, again, but Starlink doesn't offer one, so you're out of luck. You have nothing local to use. You've got to seek something out, pay for it, or do something funny. So the next disappointment I discovered was they don't have DNS servers on Starlink either. Another disappointment. So they're pointing at Google. So right away Google's farming all my DNS queries. So I put a stop to that by searching out anyone else. Anyone's better than Google. And I'm not talking about performance, although I find DNS sometimes fails intermittently on Starlink. I'm not sure if it's a block thing or whether it's that Google gets too busy. Anyway, when something's free, everybody uses it and it bogs it down. So I would recommend searching around all the available DNS services and maybe buy something. I don't know. I can't remember who I changed it over to, but I had to do it internally on my on my network. I don't know how to change it on the Starlink network. I have to have my son come over with his Android phone, and because he set it up for me on his phone, and have a look at the settings to see if I can change the DNS to not Google. But my internal machines, I have a domain controller and a DNS server internally, so I have them pointed elsewhere, so I can get away from Google stealing my information. Yeah, so what else? So a summary, I'm very happy with Starlink, even though it's not perfect, and it was expected to be not perfect. So until my area becomes serviceable, in other words, they open it up to everybody and guarantee the service, I got to put up with a few inconveniences. You know, the extra, I gotta remember how much the Ethernet adapter was, less than $50 or something like that from Starlink. You just order it, comes in a few days, and you can have a wired port. And I find too interesting. So suddenly 100 switches became obsolete once I hooked up Starlink, because when you do a speed test from internally, you can tell which ones are 10100 as opposed to gigabit, because it's comparably slow. So you have a 100 megabit card on a workstation, and the speed test is only 25 to 50. You change the switch it attaches to gigabit, and it's 100 just like the outside is, because you can test it internally using a web browser or tools or whatever, and the modem has a speed test that will test from the modem out, not from internally out. So the modem out speed is your benchmark. That's as fast as it's going to get, and internally should be the same as that. So of course I had to retire all my switches and NIC cards that were not gigabit and replace them to get everybody up to speed, so that my whole network was fast, not just the newest technology, because I still had quite a few of them around. Okay, so in closing, as long as your sky is clear to the north, the east and west is not so important, the south is not so important, because it seems to me the dish kind of points towards the north. So other than that, the installation is, you don't have to put it up high unless you have an issue with trees. You can put it on the ground in front of your house. Just don't drive over it or hit it with a lawnmower, would be my recommendations. Anyway, I guess that's it. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you in the next video.